am Shailabh Nagar and I lead a program in Kyndryl for modernizing hybrid IT for our customers, the same customers who are very much present in this room. So what I wanted to do today is just share some of our experiences and how we go about doing it, because as an industry we have a challenge with modernization. Everybody wants to do modernization, that's a given, but modernization projects don't go as planned, right? A very significant fraction of modernization projects don't go as planned, and we have been having some thoughts on that matter. We have been seeing successes with our customers on doing modernization right, and that's what we wanted to share with you today, and also learn from your experiences as you go about doing the same for your organizations. So Kyndryl is, first of all, I'd like to introduce, we had this booth at Kyndryl and a lot of people don't know who we are. So we are the world's largest infrastructure services company. We had, divested from IBM's technology services, division. It was divested 3 years back. That's our history. And now we are a full stack IT modernization player, right, and a partner for our customers. So if you go to the, it's my own. So this is a quick sort of overview of what are some of the preparations that we have done in order to sort of achieve the modernization goal that I'll be dwelling more on in the latter part of the talk. So the first thing that we all know, of course, is skills, right? There is never enough skills. The technology landscape keeps changing. So the very first thing that we have done is invest in our people and their skills, not just technology skills, but also how you go about modernizing, how you go about working with your customer, how you leverage some of the knowledge and experiences that you already have. So that is absolutely critical and it never stops. It's a continuous cycle and we have a fairly large number of upskillings that we do working with our partners. The second thing what we always had is a very in-depth knowledge of our customers. By virtue of being very experienced in the industry, we have over 30 plus years of working in the IT space. We have done numerous complex transformations for our customers. There was a time when virtualization was also a transformation and we have been part of that journey. There was a time when going online, being digital was a transformation and we have been part of that. Each one of those involved a significant change to mission critical IT environments, which are especially sensitive to how you transform. There is a whole lot of risk involved, there's cost involved, there's disruption involved. That is what our bread and butter is, to manage mission critical environments, to manage the transformations of those environments. That's what we do on a daily basis. We almost take it for granted because that's what we do. So based on that experience, but what we have seen, as have all of you, is that the rate and pace of change has increased significantly, right? Who would have thought that AI would, take over so much of our bandwidth, right? Even 3-4 years back, we would have barely imagined this. Right? A few years before that, you wouldn't have imagined that cloud would be so disruptive, or the pace of disruption. It's going to happen, but sometimes the pace catches you by surprise. So given that we have a lot of technology transformations, business transformations, all of that is happening, how do you manage the goal of modernizing while dealing with all those constraints? So one of the things that we have got to our advantage is the fact that a fairly large number of the world's top companies are our customers for decades. So if you look at it, 1 in 2 of the largest banks, all the top automotive companies, 4 of the top 5 airlines. So we have a fair amount of experience with their IT systems for quite some time now. Now the question is, how do you bring that experience and how does it help you in the modernization? And that is where our Kyndryl Bridge comes in. What is Kyndryl Bridge? It's a AI-powered open integration platform which we use day to day for delivering to our customers. So we use it as part of how we manage their environments, how we help them transform. And as part of that, you can think of it as our distilled experience. So what we are trying to do is to make sure that our scale works for our customers. So you may not have seen that problem in a particular customer environment, that problem may not have occurred. but somewhere in our ecosystem, we have had some experience on that, or there is something that will give us insights into how to solve this problem better. So that is what we wanted to bring, that force multiplication of the vast amount of data that we have, right? We wanted to bring it to bear for our own employees who are serving our customers. How do we enable them? It's a bit like AI, right? How do you use AI to, empower the person who may not have all the skills, but the AI can bring that skill set and complement that person's ability to do something. So that is the same way that we are taking Bridge, and we are already generating, tons of insights, 3.1 million insights per month. We are having a lot of automation, right? We are seeing a lot of reduction in outages simply by leveraging our own experience in the collective set of customers that we serve. So that is the purpose for which we built this, and that is helping us now find insights for modernization as well. And this is the point that is key in our approach, which is the fact that you have to have all of these things, right? You have to have skills. For modernizing, you absolutely must have skills in the latest technologies, because that's what you're modernizing to. You must keep the customer context in mind. It matters a huge amount. It is not sufficient to have a best practice from industry. You must marry it to the context of that particular customer. At the same time, you must be able to sort of leverage the collective experience across the set of partners who works for that customer. And if you have a partner like us, this is our sales pitch, which is the fact that because we are the largest, we have a largest amount of insights to offer, right? So if you bring that collective knowledge and best practices to bear with the individual context of each customer and apply the right skill set, that is when the magic happens, and you are having a much, much better ability to succeed in your modernization effort than otherwise. So touching upon our alliance ecosystem, right? This is extremely critical to Kyndryl's success, right? We are, we live and die with our alliance partners. We have a very large system, because in a sense, this alliance ecosystem that we have mirrors the environment that we find in our customers. So complex IT transformation requires, it takes a village, as they say, to bring about hybrid IT modernization. And these alliance partners, by virtue of having, very significant customer bases of their own, being present in our customers' environment, are very integral to our approach to hybrid IT modernization. So many of them are technology partners. We are a services company. Some of them are complementary services partners, and we work collectively to achieve the outcomes for the customers that we serve. So for instance, we have had over 1 billion in hyperscaler revenue is what we're expecting to cross in FY25. So this is very vital to our business success as well, besides being right for our customers. So alliances ecosystem is very, very important, and this is again applies not just to a service provider like us, but also to any GCC, as you would think. Right? So now coming to the crux of our approach, right? What is it that we are saying is working for us? And this I can speak from personal experience, being a co-lead of an initiative that is working on this with, hundreds of customers in Kyndryl, and we are seeing very definitive improvement in the success rates for modernization by following this approach. So it starts with the fact that you build on this decades of experience, right? Even though that experience was built initially in the infrastructure space, that is a very vital component of modernization. You have to look at all layers of the IT stack, right? Modernization begins with applications is what they said, and nowadays it is more of data and experience of what you are trying to transform, the business problem that you are trying to solve. But it has to be informed by all layers of the IT stack, right? So no one provider can, satisfactorily address everything, and we bring that information about the infrastructure layer and the skills at the remaining parts of the stack to bear on this entire problem. So based on that decades of experience, working with hyperscaler and other partners who bring a very rich ecosystem of components that can be used for the modernization. And then we marry it to the Kyndryl Bridge that I talked about, which has the distilled experience and actual day-to-day insights that we get in running environments. Based on that foundation, we then have this strategy which we call right workload, right pace, right place. Right? So here the key aspect is that one of the key things that we find is problematic in modernization is the fact that you take on too much. You try to do a big bang approach based on certain principles like I need to transform to this particular vendor or that particular technology all at once. And that rarely works because the nuances of your workload, of your environment absolutely matters. That is where you get stuck. You start with that policy and then when you try it out, something doesn't work out, then you see delays and cost and all of that. So that is why having that analysis of your workload, of what is the disposition of that workload that you're going to do, and what is the pace at which you're going to do it. Even if both of those are right, the pace at which you do it, right? The pace of ROI, the return on investment, how do you manage risk? How do you make sure that you're getting the returns? That is very important for getting the buy-in and success of both internal and external stakeholders. So that is the right workload, right pace, right strategy that we are adopting and finding it is giving good success. And then of course you have to recognize the fact that applications and data have now firmly decoupled. Data has its own life cycle, it has its own value proposition. So application-led has now become data-led modernization. That is where the whole IT part of the transformation starts. And then when you go further up the stack, of course, there is the actual business problem that you are trying to address. What are the business processes that you are trying to improve? That is where it all starts. So that is where you start from. But then when you examine the IT implications of the transformation that you're trying to seek, then you have to look at data separately, you have to look at the apps separately, the infra implications, and then bring it all together. Whether you do it, if you get lucky and you get the entire contract, so be it. If you don't and you are working with partners, so be it. The key part is that you have to know that whole context, both for the customer and from the industry insights. So we also call it the run, transform, run methodology, which is based on our experience that when you're running a business, you actually understand the context of that environment and of the industry as a whole. And that is what you use and bring that to bear for the transformation. And once you transform, you have to run whatever you transformed, right? So there's a run of the as is, transform to the to be, and then a run of the to be. All of that is a virtuous cycle, which is no news, it's not a surprise to anybody in this room, but the way that you do it, right? Sometimes you have to take small nibbles, sometimes you have to take bigger transformations. That is where the secret sauce is. And it is not one size fits all. It has to be done by customer. Right? That is what we have found. So this is what our sort of pragmatic modernization methodology is, that we are finding having a lot of success in many customers across multiple industries across. So that is what we are doing right now. And but no matter what you say, there's nothing as powerful as actually having examples of customer stories where we have applied this method and it has worked, right? So we'd like to now take you through a few of those customer stories and see what we are actually doing in practice. So with that, let's show you this little video, which is our Grameen Bank story. I'll let the video speak for itself.
ನಾವು ಸಾನೆ ಬಡಿಸ್ತಾನ ಸರ್ ಅವಾಗ ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಕುಟುಂಬದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಲ ತಗೊಂಡು ಎಷ್ಟು ಬಡಿಸ್ತಾನ ಉಣ್ಣಕ್ಕಿಟ್ಟಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಏನಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ತುಂಬಾ ಕಷ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದರು ಸರ್.
70 to 75% of population lives in rural India, which means 180 million of households.
Credit Access Grameen, we specialize in lending to agricultural laborers. They're willing to put a lot of hard work, but they don't have the capital to grow. We lend to women in groups as a community.
There's a social responsibility to make sure that they are able to pay loans on time, to make sure that each one of them succeed.
As we grew, our technology could not catch up. We had a lot of users waiting, customers were getting irritated.
This whole business is all about scale. So technology is a key enabler for the success of business. It had to be automated.
ಕಳೆದ 4 ವರ್ಷ IT ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ಯುಯಲಿ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಟ್ರಯಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಎರರ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಆಡಿಟಿಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂಗೆ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ಎರರ್ಸ್ಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ತುಂಬ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು.
It used to take us 7 to 10 days to process a loan application, and we are growing every year.
We needed somebody who would connect with us in terms of understanding our needs, understanding the customers that we serve. And we found that match with Kyndryl. They work as part of one ID team. Together, we are able to provide highly available and most reliable solutions for the loan officer on ground. We have thousands of field officers, and each one of them has a loan application, and they cannot conduct these meetings in groups without these applications working perfectly well. We do around 80 to 90,000 loan applications a day, and that wouldn't be possible in a manual manner.
ಮತ್ತು ಅದ್ರ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಡಿವೈಸ್ ಬಂದಮೇಲಿಂದ ಒಂದು ವಾರ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಕಾಯಿಸಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಮತ್ತು ಲೋನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಲೋನ್ ಇಷ್ಟು ಜನಕ್ಕಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಸ್ಪಾಟಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು.
Thanks to a company like Kyndryl, been able to invest on the right infrastructure, on the right software. There are millions of transactions going through seamlessly, which is a phenomenal achievement.
We are pretty confident of the entire tech stack in terms of performance and reliability. They can scale as much as they want to, at the same time launch new products.
I am extremely proud to see what impact we have on our customer, how they have changed their life.
ಈಗ 4 ಹಸು ಇದೆ, ಒಂದು 15 ಮೇಕೆ ಇದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡು
ಇವಾಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಳುಗಳಿಗೆ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಕೊಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಅದರಿಂದ ತುಂಬ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಮನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ.
ಆವಾಗ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಒಂದು ಗಾಡಿ ತಗೊಂಡು ತರಕಾರಿ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು ಪರವಿಲಾಸ ಬದುಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ.
So this is the kind of customer that makes our day, right? Where we can have impact, where we can, sort of do the kinds of things that I mentioned. That context of that loan officer, right? His environment, that particular thing is not the same as any other bank, right? It doesn't translate. You have to get into it. Yet, many of the solutions that you would have seen in the video are things that we have done for other customers. So we take those snippets, take that, bring to bear, and then tie it into the ecosystem. So that's what is actually working for us. Now, similarly, if you look at this other story that we have, which is again on an India. So here is what we were trying to do, which is not us, it is the Reserve Bank of India. They are looking at how we can improve. Are we out of time already? Really? Wow. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So I'll just complete this story and then we'll this thing. So we have helped RBI to build a loan approval application platform, which is the back end for all the banks in the country as they sort of try to provide loans for 1 billion farmers. So frictionless credit, how can you approve a loan in minutes as opposed to the weeks that it takes right now? Because many of that loan process requires that data on farm size, credit history, crop patterns, weather, which is common to all the banks. That depends on the applicant, not on the bank that is approving it. So RBI has provided this platform which can supply that particular part of the loan processing to all the banks in the country, and each of them has their own lending system, and we are working on that back-end system which can make the entire process really, really fast and smooth and have the same kind of impact that you saw in the previous story. This is for multiple farmers who can literally get their loans approved in minutes is what is happening, and we have already done this. It's running live. There are crores of loans that have been dispersed already. So this is again an example of something where by doing modernization right, you can have an impact at scale, right? So since I'm unfortunately out of time, we'll have to stop here, but we have a couple of other stories. Please do visit us in the booth in the next room, and we'll be happy to talk to you about our experiences, learn from you, and also suggest how we can work together for our customers.